Hi, everybody. It's me, Angel Benton, and it's time for Dancing for Relevancy, which is the show where I talk about Dancing with the Stars, Dancing with the Stars Juniors, and Strictly Come Dancing, which is the UK version of Dancing with the Stars. Da, 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 da. Okay, so here's the thing about Dancing with the Stars. So let's start with just so both shows on both sides of the pond, both Dancing with the Stars as well as Strictly Come Dancing, have seen their fair share of scandal over the years, but it was really bad this past couple weeks. So let's give you a little bit of insight, a little bit of background about what I'm talking about. So there's this website, and it's called it's called Main Page Blind Items, and it's a fantastic. It looks like this, and it tells you all of these blind items about Hollywood, and it really, I mean, like if you don't, if I don't, I hate to tell people about this website because if people find out like what a horrible place Hollywood is, they might not ever go to the movies or watch television ever again. But it's interesting, and they had a little bit about Dancing with the Stars. If you look under October, they have it broken down month by month, and some of it is I think it goes all the way back to like 1996. So it's pretty crazy that they've amassed that much gossip that you, and it's really interesting. What I like to do is I like to go back in time and kind of read and see about things that have happened since then. Like it's really interesting. I'm fascinated by it. So anyways. Okay, so this is what it says in October. There's a couple other items in September I'll talk about, but let's talk about October. So it says, where is it? Oh no, I lost it. Okay, well, whatever. Anyways, it said on here, it basically said what producers of this show were sick of, couldn't wait to get rid of someone, so they staged a phony glitch and got rid of that person just because they were sick of being kind and accommodating. And they said that it was Dancing with the Stars, and they were talking about Danelle Umstead. So, okay, first of all, if they were just tired of being accommodating, now when you hear that, you don't automatically think, oh my God, like they're horrible people. Or at least I don't. I think, okay, well, was she a diva? That's a nice way of putting it. Was she a diva? Because, just because someone has a disability doesn't mean that they're a fantastic person. She might not be. She might be a full-on diva. Who knows, right? But if she isn't a diva and she was just asking for things that she needs because I don't know, she's blind, it makes me wonder. It's like, okay, well, you knew she was blind when you cast her, and in fact, I'm sure that's probably one of the reasons why you cast her was because she's blind. So if they just were sick of dealing with that injury, or you know what else I'm thinking, maybe Artem had something to do with it. I mean, like, I don't know if he did or not, but I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if maybe Artem was complaining that she was being a diva or difficult to work with, or I mean, because let's not get it twisted. It is a huge challenge to teach someone who is blind to dance, a visual medium. You know what I mean? So I love that. I love that she gave it her all, and she did great. I mean, I thought she did great. But I knew that when they started doing those faster dances that she would have a difficult time. So I honestly, I don't know, but I find it very interesting that made the papers. Okay, so that was in October. And then in September, they were talking about September, and there was two items in September. And one of them said that this person, what did they call her? They called her a one-named, this was in September. They called her a one-named musical wonder, and they were talking about how she needed to get on this show so she could get, better parts, that's basically relevancy. I mean, really, that's what this show's all about, dancing for relevancy. Because a lot of these people, they're not at the height of fame yet, or they were and they want to get back there. That's the whole point that most people do when they do these shows, right? Although I will say, Strictly Come Dancing has like people at the height of their fame, but then again, they're British, so it's like their British fame. It's not quite like global fame, But I do think that there's a lot less stigma attached to the show in England. Now, I could be wrong. Feel free to comment and let me know if I'm wrong, because I don't know. It looks, I don't know. So anyways, okay. So in September, they said this one named musical wonder was basically trying to get on the show and try to get as much out of the show as she possibly can. So that's why she was trying so hard. And she said she would sleep with anyone it took to get to where she needed to be. And okay, first of all, we all know who they're talking about, Tinashe. They're talking about Tinashe, right? She's the only one named musical wonder on the whole cast, right? So they're talking about Tinashe. And if it's true, again, I don't know if necessarily all of the things that are written on this website are true. But if this is true, I feel bad for her because, girl, she just picked a losing horse. I mean, America didn't really, and she was fierce, don't get me wrong. She might have been the best one on this season. But at the same time, it's kind of hard if America doesn't really care about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that, that they're apathetic to her. I'm more saying that they don't know enough about her to care one way or the other. You know what I mean? No tea, no shade with that. I'm just saying. Listen, sweetie, I have zero problem with someone that wants to sleep their way to the top. That is, you go, girl. You know what I'm saying? Fine, that's fine with me. I have no problems with that. I just feel bad that she didn't get that opportunity because she got voted off. Okay, and then they were talking about, so that was one that they were talking about in September. Then they were talking about how John Schneider, I'm trying to get a little bit, let's do that. This might be a little bit better. Oh, God, that's so much better. Okay, so John Schneider, they said that although he had this new payday of the show, he was still asking his fans for money. Now, I saw the most important year of my life, whatever, right? And they were talking about some flood. I think it was in Nashville where he lives, I think. And there was or Texas maybe. I don't know. He lives somewhere where there was a huge flood and it flooded like all of the houses on his compound, his mom's, all these people. And he's still trying to build himself out from that. I'm willing to cut the guy a break if he's asking for money because, I don't know, he suffered a natural disaster, I'm sorry. I think that that's a little bit, I think we can let that one go just a little bit. So anyways, I just thought I would mention that because I thought it was so fascinating. So this week on the show, on Dancing with the Stars, they did Disney Night, which okay, Disney Night is my favorite night of the week. It is, because I look forward to it every single season, whether it's athletes or juniors or whatever. I love Disney Night. Disney Night is the best. So, I was very curious to see, who did what, who did what routine, right? So the first one, and it was Disney Night on both Dancing with the Stars as well as Dancing with the Stars Junior. They don't have a Disney Night in the UK for Strictly Come Dancing. They had a movie night, and they had a whole bunch of movies, and there was a huge Disney section and a Disney opening number, and that was cool. But it wasn't like the whole evening was devoted to Disney. But then again, in England, the show is produced by the BBC. Now, they're a producer here for Dancing with the Stars, but it is owned by ABC, who is owned by who? Disney. So they really put their full marketing force into this show. And you know what? It's great, though. It's fucking great. I love it. So we had, appearances from Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, all those characters came out. It was really fantastic. And they all did numbers with, and then they had the juniors come out, and the juniors came and did a little number with all of the pros and everything. I mean, it was really great. That might actually have been the best episode of Dancing with the Stars in the history of Dancing with the Stars. And that's not even counting all the competitors. That's just counting like all the special shit that they did for that show. It was so good. It was so good. I was very impressed. It was wonderful. Okay, so first was Alexis and Alan, the Insta model, or Alexis is the Insta model, Alan is the pro. And Alan is the pro that reminds me so much of Giovanni from Strictly Come Dancing. Like, they are the same person. It's really kind of scary. But I don't mean like how they look. I mean more like their personalities. They're just so similar. It's crazy. Okay, so Alexis and Alan did Just Around the River Bend from Pocahontas, which might actually be my favorite song from Pocahontas. I love that. First of all, I love that movie. I love Pocahontas. I've loved that movie since 1995. It is a fantastic movie. I love the message behind it and how she's so in touch with nature, you know. I love it. I love everything about it. So they did this routine, and Alan was great. Alan is phenomenal, right? And they went to Disney California Adventure, and I suppose they went there because so they went there and they rode the Grizzly River Rapids. And, you know, listen, I'm very well familiar with both parts, having worked there. I just need to say that they, it felt a little bit like they should have shot their scenes, their interstitial bits. They should have shot those at Disneyland, because I think it would have been a little bit more Pocahontas-ish if they were in a Davy Crockett war canoe. You know what I mean? As opposed to a raft. I mean, that was kind of like, okay. But that I'm sure they did not choose that. So I'm just saying that was an interesting artistic choice on the part of the producers. Okay, so they did fine. Oh God, and another thing, Alan sweats. Good. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's working hard, super hard. But at the same time, he was just dripping when they were giving him his scores. I mean, like, I was like, oh my God. And what irritated, this part irritated me. So they were kind of like teasing that there is a relationship between Alexis and Alan. I don't necessarily know that I buy that. I really don't. You know, because let's be real. Whenever there is a real life relationship, they never mention it. Like, do you remember Kim Johnson, or now she's Kim Herjavec, but when she had Robert Herjavec from Shark Tank as her star, and she was the pro? And, you know, they never really alluded to their relationship, and then they ended up getting married. So, I mean, I'm just saying. Here's another thing. Peta and Max, did you even know they were together before they had their baby and got married? You know what I mean? Val and Jenna, same thing. I mean, obviously we know Val and Jenna are together now, but it's one of those things where methinks they are protesting too much. You know what I mean? Okay. So then we have Juan Pablo and Cheryl. And Juan Pablo is Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. And he is all about his ponytail. Let me tell you, he was all about the ponytail. I mean, they did fine. It was cute. It was all right, you know. Both Juan Pablo and Cheryl, as well as Alexis and Alan, got a 29. So that was fine. It was all right, right? Okay, so then we had DeMarcus and Lindsay, and they did A Star is Born from Hercules, which is another one of my favorite movies. I love me some Hercules. Now, here's the thing. Lindsay better look just like Meg. Like she made a damn good Meg. Like she wasn't, I don't know if she was playing Meg or not, but she had Meg's similar hair, wig, and she looked fantastic. And he better lift her. He better do all kinds of crazy lifts with her. Like, he did this one lift where he was literally spinning her around I mean, like, it was pretty phenomenal. Like, I gotta give her credit. I mean, she held it together. And not just that, but she broke her shoe like at the beginning of the number. And she kept that shit on her foot the whole time. And not only that, but the judges didn't even know that she had broken her shoe. I mean, that's pretty fierce. Now, it was only 26 fierce as opposed to 29 like the previous two. And I think it was just because DeMarcus was still a little bit, he's not quite fully going for it. You know what I'm saying? There's a little bit of hesitation with his movements. Just my opinion, right? Okay, so then we had Ivana and Keo, and they did a song from, what's it called? When Will My Life Begin from Tangled. And, okay, I gotta be real. She looked fucking great as Rapunzel. She looked like Rapunzel in the park. Like, I'm sorry, if this whole acting thing doesn't work out, you could always get a job at Disneyland playing Rapunzel because she looked just like her. It was great. Except, okay, at the very beginning of the number, she's up in her tower with her long hair, and then she just, and I swear to God, she literally just undoes her hair and then comes down the stairs from the tower. And it's like, I'm sorry, what? Did you just literally just come down the stairs? Okay. But they did good. They did really fine. They did great. You know, they got 24. And then we have Joe and Jenna. And they did this song called Zero by Imagine Dragons, and it's from Ralph Breaks the Internet, which is Wreck-It Ralph Part 2. And they actually had on Twitter, the Dancing with the Stars Twitter had on there, they had a, they said, which do you prefer? Do you prefer Joe and Jenna, Grocery Store Joe and Jenna, or Sharna and Bonner? Because they also did a number from the original Wreck-It Ralph, When Can I See You Again? Now, I think that I think neither couple did, you know, their numbers justice. But if I had to pick one, I would pick Sharna and Bonner, absolutely, 100%. Here's something that's interesting about Grocery Store Joe. So I was watching YouTube, and there's all these, you know, videos by Ms. Mojo videos. If you need to check it out if you haven't seen Ms. Mojo. And she uploads videos every single day. And one of her videos, they're always countdown videos, like top biggest mistakes on Saturday Night Live or something like that, right? Well, this particular video I was watching was 10 worst performances on Dancing with the Stars. And right away I'm thinking, oh, this ought to be good. So I'm watching the show, and okay, literally, so I mean, and I have to agree with pretty much every single one of the ones that they've mentioned. They were all pretty bad, like all of them. And it makes me sad because it makes me feel bad for Tony Dovolani because most of the partners were his. And don't give me that shit about him being a horrible teacher, because that is not true. Obviously it's not, because he won with Melissa Rycroft, and he just always gets stuck with the shit ass partners. So I felt bad for him. And Mark Ballas too. Actually, Mark Ballas had his fair share of clunkers as well. And he's an amazing dancer. So, you know, and neither one of them are doing the show anymore. But what was funny was that they had the dishonorable mentions, and sure enough, fucking Grocery Store Joe, who is on this season, right, is a fucking contestant on this season, he made the list. And that was like, wow. Well, good for you for making that list, you know. Now, he wasn't in the top 10, but he was a dishonorable mention. But, I mean, I know he's got a big fan base. I know lots of people love him. He's been around he's not going anywhere, you know. And it's a little bit upsetting, but at the same time, it's like, you know, what can you do, right? Would he last so long in England? I don't think so, because they do their voting slightly different than we do, so I'm not quite sure if he would still be around. Okay, so then Mary Lou and Sasha, they did a number from Mulan called Reflection, which was interesting. It was an interesting choice. So, but what was weird, and this was kind of strange, was that she had like this whole bit at the very beginning of her number with her sword, or not sword, but like her staff, and it was like, girl, like this is not I'll make a man out of you, or what's the other one that there's some other routine that it was like, oh, that would have made more sense, but it didn't really, it kind of stuck out in Reflection, you know. But then when they got to like their whole, you know, because they were doing contemporary, so when they got to their whole contemporary part, it was kind of cool, it was cute, you know. Okay, so then John and Emma did I Want to Be Like You from Jungle Book, and it was cute. They got a 24. And then they have Bobby and Sharna. Now, I need to give some major snaps to Miss Sharna. That bitch better fucking work. First of all, she's been dying to play Ariel forever, right? And she did. Her body was fierce. She had on the glitter. She had on the long red wig. I mean, she looked incredible. Bobby didn't really look that much like Prince Eric, but you know, he did fine. They did okay. They got a 21 though. They were the lowest scored of the week. And then Milo and Whitney, they did the quick step from Incredibles. They did the routine to this to the in credits to whatever. Anyways, they were going to do an elimination, and they said, okay, so the people that are eliminated this week, the people that are in jeopardy this week are Alexis and Alan. Now, when they said Alexis and Alan, I swear to God, my mouth went, because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they actually said Alexis and Alan. But in my head, I'm going, yes, get rid of her, right? Okay, so they said Alexis and Alan, and who was and DeMarcus and Lindsay. Again, I was like, because, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. DeMarcus is not dancing at his best, but he's way better than Grocery Store Joe. He's better than Bobby Bones. You know, it's like, okay, really, like. But then Tom was like, we're not going to let anyone go. This is Disney Week. Okay, so I found that to be very interesting because what happened was the night before, so now we're going to go into Dancing with the Stars Juniors. They sure did let someone go. I mean, they let someone go on Disney night on Dancing with the Stars Juniors. So I was like, okay, shoot, okay. I mean, like, and you would think that the producers of the show would be like, okay, these are kids. Let's spare them from getting eliminated on Disney night. No, they spared the grown-ups, and they made one of the kids go home, which killed me. It was so funny. I was like, really? Okay. Okay, so Dancing with the Stars Juniors. No drama or gossip about Dancing with the Stars Juniors, because they're all little kids. There's nothing really to talk about. At least there hasn't been anything that's popped up on that blind items page yet. If there is, I'll be sure to talk about it and let you know. Okay, so it was Disney night, and they had to do routines, and one of them, so the first one was Sophia and Jake, and they were doing Poor Unfortunate Souls. Now, Sophia, okay. She ended up going home. They sent her home, right? So they sent Sophia home. And in all honesty, I kind of agree with that decision. Because she was the least spectacular of everyone that night. So, I mean, I get it. Are there others that are just as bad? I don't know if I would say just as bad, but I would definitely say that there were others that need help, and we'll get to them in a minute. But what I found strange was that, okay, so she was playing Ursula, but she was kind of like, you know, a super young, thin Ursula, which is fine. That's whatever, you know. And he was playing Prince Eric, and they were dancing together, and it really didn't make that much sense, to be honest with you. Like it's a head scratcher. It's like, I'm sorry, who? What? Okay, all right. So then they had Mackenzie and Sage. They did Pocahontas as well, except they did Colors of the Wind, and they did a contemporary. Now let's not lie. The contemporary is right in Mackenzie's wheelhouse. I mean, that's what she did on Dance Moms. So obviously she was going to do very well. She got a 27. So and that was the highest of, well, it was tied for the highest of anyone on the show. So I mean, obviously she did great. Um, and then we had Ariana and Ardion, and they did Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride from Lilo and Stitch, which I'm not gonna lie, they did great. They were fucking great. They were really, really good. I was really impressed, you know. They're a great little couple. I'm not gonna lie. Now they only got a 25 as opposed to 27, but I mean, it was still impressive. Like they were great. They were really, really good. Okay, so then there was Mandla and Brighton, and Mandla is Stevie Wonder's son. Okay, and Mandla, they did a jazz routine to Un Poco Loco from Coco. And if I were Mandla, I would be like, okay. Because like he was just barely half a step above Sophia. So he needs to step it up next week because he was this close. Like, it was pretty unfortunate. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was like, I'm not gonna lie. This year, the kids are way better than the grown-ups. Like, no tea, no shade. 100% keeping it real. They are fierce this year. Like, and even the ones that aren't that great, like Sophia and Mandla and Honey Boo Boo. We'll get to her in a second. You know, they're still better than Grocery Store Joe, right? So it's you know, I'm just saying. Okay, so then we have Miles, who is from Blackish, and Riley, and they did One Jump Ahead from Aladdin, and they were really cute, and it was really cute. Like it was great. You know what I'm reminded of? There was this one guy. His name is Eric Roth, and I'm gonna shout out to you, Eric Roth. I don't know where you are in life. I hope that you could see this someday. He did a lot of voiceover work for Disney, and I remember because we did a show together in Santa Barbara, and he was talking about how he did the part where the girls would go, "Oh, it said Aladdin's hit the bottom," you know that part, and that's his voice. So I mean, it cracks me up. It's so funny, but I don't know why that reminded me of that, but because I know he did that, so that's why I saw that number and I was like, oh, that's cute. They did fine. It was all right. It was a Charleston, so you know. It wasn't the smoothest Charleston. There should have been a little bit more Charleston content. I hate to sound like Len there. Or actually, Val did a good job of sounding like Len. He was he kind of was like, there needs to be a little more Charleston content in there. And he's right. There did. You know, it was great. He did fine, but he, you know, they could have, because he's one of those people that they could have easily given him a little bit more. He could have done more, you know. Okay, so then we had Honey Boo Boo and Tristan. Honey Boo Boo, don't get me wrong, I love me some Alana. I have loved Alana since Toddlers and Tiaras. Okay, Honey Boo Boo child, but she was not getting it this week at all. Like, I mean, it's not that she wasn't getting it. She's so overly excitable that she needs to bring a little bit more finesse to the movement. And because right now she's kind of like a diamond in the rough, right? That's a really good way of putting it. She's really great, but she needs polish. You know, she needs to be polished. And it's really, you know, and she did a number from Beauty and the Beast, and you know, they had Tristan, her partner, who was, I guess he was supposed to be the Beast, or maybe he was the Beast as Prince, but it wasn't in that part of the movie when he was the Prince. I mean, I don't know. It was kind of weird. I didn't really understand it, so I was like, okay, that was something, whatever that was. Okay, so it was a foxtrot. Okay. So then they did, then there was Sky, the little skateboarder girl, and JT, and they did How Far I'll Go from Moana. Okay, you know I love that song. And this bitch, okay, now she was not the highest score. She got 24. So what? She was the third highest. She came in third on the leaderboard. But at the same time, she kicked ass. She was incredible. Her partner JT, awesome, so good. I mean, they were so awesome. And they gave their criticism. The judges gave their criticisms. She took the criticisms like a fucking champ. And then afterwards, bitch, she's only like 7. She grabs the mic from Jordan and she's like, I just want to let all the girls out there know that you can do it. You can do anything you set your mind to. And I'm like, give that bitch the fucking mirror ball. Because she deserves the whole fucking thing. Give it to her. Give it to her. She's fierce. She's so fierce. I love her. I was like, oh, man, she's gonna rule the world. She's incredible. Okay, so then there was Jason and Eliana. Jason, they did Toy Story, and they did You Got a Friend in Me. And Eliana, you know I love Eliana. I've loved Eliana since she was on Dance Moms too. And what was funny was they did great in their routine, and they were asking, because Toy Story is Jason's, that's his name, Jason, right? Yeah, Jason's favorite movie, Disney movie. And Eliana just chimes in, is like, it's not my favorite. I hate toys. Toys scare me. And then wait, that was fierce. But then the best part was Jason was like, okay, that's different. I was dying. I was on the floor. I was like, oh my God. These kids, I cannot with them. They are too much. That's different. I couldn't take it. Oh my God, it was so funny. Okay. So then finally there was Akash and Camry, and they did 0 to Hero from Hercules as well. Now, I realized that Akash is the youngest out of all of the juniors to be in the show. And it's kind of starting to show. It's starting to show. Now, don't get me wrong. There are others that were, like Mandolin, Honey Boo Boo, that need to worry a little bit more than Akash. But I would think that maybe Akash might be after them because, he's there. He's like everyone else is getting better and better. And I feel like he's getting better as well, just not as much as everyone else is. So, and a lot of that's his age. I mean, he's like, what? How old is he? Like 7? Like he's a child, like a baby, So, and he's doing fantastic. He's doing so good. So, I'm definitely curious to see what next week is going to be like for them. Oh, and yeah, like I said, they let Sophia go. They were like, and Sophia, you're done. And I was like, so what was funny? And I was like, okay, wow, all right, yeah, bye. And then the next day they had Dancing with the Stars, and they were like, oh, we're not going to let anyone go home. It's Disney. I'm like, bitch, you sure let someone go home last night? Really? You sure did let that bitch go home last night. Damn. All right. Okay. So now I normally do a lot more talking about Dancing with the Stars Juniors, but there isn't really much to say. They all did really great. The children, like I said, I've said it many times, the kids are doing way better than the grown-ups. And that is a 100% fact. Now, what's interesting is that they were floating the idea of a Strictly Come Dancing Juniors, and British people are like, no. They're like, no, we're not interested in seeing that. They're like, children need a childhood. And, okay, let's be real. I agree that children need a childhood, and I want to give a shout out to my friend Mickey, who was talking about this. You know, in England, you know, from the time you're like 12, you've got to act like a grown up, you know, and you can drink and you can do all this stuff and, you know, but like, you know, so in America, we do have a childhood. And what's funny is that we have Dancing with the Stars juniors. And I'm not gonna lie, the kids, and maybe that's why they don't want to see Strictly Juniors, because maybe those kids will show up, those grown-ups, you know. Okay, so Strictly Come Dancing. Let's hop on over the Atlantic Ocean to England. We'll talk about Strictly Come Dancing. So this week on Strictly Come Dancing, there's a little bit of drama. Okay, so I'll tell you right away who went home. So who went home this week was, excuse me. So who went home this week was Vic and Graziano. Now, it wasn't Neil. There was a former pro who gave an interview, and he was talking about how basically it wasn't Vic's fault, and that although he would have made the same decision that the judges made, because, you know, in England, they do their scoring a little bit differently. So basically, they have their vote, and they only have like 20 minutes to vote, and then that's it. And because the whole country is like the size of California. So one state, okay, they get all their votes tallied up, and then they right away they shoot the next day's show, which is the results show. And they have the bottom two scoring couples go into the dance off, and then the judges have the final say, and they say who they want to keep. So what's interesting is that this dancer, I wish I knew who it was, but they wish I knew his name, but I think his name was Brendan, maybe? Anyways, he was talking about how, you know, he would have made the same choice as the judges, but he doesn't blame Vic. He blames her shit partner, Graziano. Ooh. Well, okay. So in addition to those two shows, you know, Saturday and Sunday, they also have this show on BBC Two, because those two shows are on BBC One. And then on BBC Two, they have a show called It Takes Two, all during the week. And they have various people from the show on It Takes Two. So the first night, on Monday night, they had Vic and Graziano on the show. And Vic basically said that the judges had it out for her. I mean, like, it was kind of like sour grapes. I'm not gonna lie. Like, she was pissed off. And she said that Shirley had it out for her the most. And she's like, she relished in giving me the axe. And I'm thinking, I didn't see that. I was in audience. I mean, I wasn't in the audience. I was watching live, and I didn't see that. So I'm not quite sure. And again, it really feeds into that whole British narrative of we hate Shirley Ballas, which, again, I don't get that at all. She's fierce. She gives great commentary. Like, you know, she's a dancer. She's a ballroom dancer. She's a fucking legend. I mean, come on. What do you people want? I mean, seriously. So Graziano says he doesn't think that there was and the judges are like, we give our scores and that's it, you know, and then we decide who we want to go and who we want to stay, and that's it. Because she said the producers came and they were talking to the judges afterwards. I mean, like, I mean, unless you heard every word of the conversation, and it's kind of difficult to believe that she actually did, it's like, well, you know, yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that they were telling her, you've got to let Vic go. You know what I mean? Now, personally, I would have kept Vic, to be honest with you. I mean, I understand where the judges are coming from, and maybe it's because I'm a bitter old queen like Craig Revel Horwig, just kidding. But I agree with him. He decided to save Vic and Graziano, and the other three decided to save Sean and Katya. Except Bruno was actually not a guest judge this week. This week there was a guest judge from Alfonso Ribeiro. And what's interesting about that, you know, he won Dancing with the Stars, and he did phenomenal. He did phenomenal. But wait, okay, wait. So, okay, here's a funny Alfonso Ribeiro comment. So they were talking about, because he's Carlton. He's Carlton Banks from Fresh Prince. He did the Carlton on what his most remembered number in the show. And what's interesting is that Stacey Dooley, who I need to start watching some of her documentaries because I'm really enjoying her quite a bit. First of all, let's talk about her for a second. So she did a number. Oh wait, hold on. Let's go to Strictly Come Dancing. Here we go. So she did Tequila, right? She did a samba to Tequila with Kevin Clifton. And she had these big feathers, and she was just fucking getting it. In fact, I think they scored the highest of the night. Let's see. Yeah. No. Stacy. Yeah, 30. No, they didn't. They didn't score the highest of the night, but they did great though. They did really good. Stacey and Kevin got a 33, and they were fierce. So anyways, she's standing in front of the judges, and she's like, I can't believe I'm dancing in front of Charlton. Charlton. And he was thinking, bitch, you don't even know my fucking name. You can't even get my name right, really. And she's mortified. She's like, I can't believe I just said on live television that I'm dancing for Charlton. Okay. And Kevin Clifton's like, who was my man crush Monday this week? He's really cute. He's super cute. I love me some Kevin Clifton. And this is what I love about Kevin Clifton. He's gotten Stacey to be better and better and better every single week. And they have been at the top of the leaderboard like the last 3 weeks. They've done so well. They have done so well. So, that turns me on. I love that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the couples and how they did. So that was kind of the controversy surrounding Strictly Come Dancing, which is kind of weird. So anyway, yeah, but back to Alfonso Ribeiro real quick. It also kind of brought out a lot of xenophobia from the viewers of Strictly Come Dancing. They're like, they had to have this foreigner come in. And I'm thinking, really? You got people in this show like Aliash, like Pasha, like Luba. You have these Nadia, Katya. They have all these like Eastern European people, and they're not foreigners, but they have Giovanni, they have Graziano. I mean, but because Carlton's American, he's a foreigner. I mean, really? Okay. It makes me want to be like that gift and be like, sure, Jan. It's like, okay. And not everyone was like that, but I mean, like, there was quite a few people that were, and I was like, that's kind of ugly. That's really ugly. It's like, you know what I mean? Can you imagine if we were like that against British people on Dancing with the Stars? We have had a shit ton of amazing British. I mean, Bindi Irwin is not British. She's Australian, but she was a foreigner. She's from Australia. She fucking won. She won the Mirror Ball one year, and she's incredible. She deserved it. We had... the chick that was the opera singer, she was also in an episode of Doctor Who. She danced with Mark Ballas, and she came in like third. She was like fierce also. She was incredible. Like, and they're all, and she's English. So it just is like, okay, really? Like, okay. And not once did someone say, oh, well, they're foreigners. I mean, I don't know. And that really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Reading those comments was like, that's kind of, okay, ugly. All right. Okay, so first things first. So first they had Dr. Ranj, and Jeanette, and they did an American Smooth to Wouldn't It Be Nice by the Beach Boys. They did okay. It was all right. They got a 25. It was fine. Then there was Lauren and AJ. And they did a contemporary and this was their choice. So remember, this on Strictly, they haven't had contemporary or jazz or hip hop. And they have couples choice now where the couples can choose either contemporary or jazz and theater or commercial and street, which is hip hop. So they chose AJ and Jeanette, AJ and Lauren. I'm sorry, AJ and Lauren chose contemporary, and it was really interesting. I don't necessarily know if I would have chosen contemporary. You know, I just feel like, don't get me wrong, AJ is number one runner up for Man Crush Monday next week for sure. But the thing is AJ kind of is not rising to the challenge of Lauren, and it should not be as challenging as it has been. Like she's only missing, you know, her forearm really, so he should be able to do just fine with her. But it just feels like, you know, she's doing a great job though. I mean, you take for granted how both of your arms kind of, you know, keep you up and help you do shit. And I think she's doing fantastic. I love her. I think she's doing great. Now, I hope, because they're still on the show, so I hope that, you know, he has a breakthrough and they do something else. But it just might be where she was kind of mismatched, maybe, you know? Anyways, okay, so maybe it's because he's small. Like, I mean, he's not like a midget like Sasha, but he's thin. He's a twink. He's a twink, right? So he's a twink, and maybe because they figure because she was missing part of her arm, she'd be lighter to lift. I don't know, but it's like, it would have been better to see her with Graziano and AJ with Vic, to be perfectly honest with you. That would have kind of been better, but whatever. All right. So then there was Graham and OT, and they did a tango to Roxanne by the Police. Now, they did great. Don't get me wrong. They did phenomenal. They were great. No complaints. I mean, they came in, they got a 29. They did really good. But what's interesting is that I wouldn't have chosen that version of that song. That song is a great song, and it's a great song for a tango, especially if you do the Moulin Rouge version, which was El Tango de Roxanne. I mean, it's a tango, you know what I'm saying? It would have been a lot better, a lot more tango-ish than to do the rock and roll version that the Police did. I just thought that, I just didn't understand that. Okay, so then there was Ashley and Pasha, and they did a rumba to Something the Way You Look Tonight by Elton John. And I'm sure they're probably thrilled to get the rumba over with, because that rumba, let me tell you, the rumba has taken many dancers. Like, it is the worst dance of many, many different dancers. So I'm sure they're probably thrilled that they got that out of their system. And they, at the time, they got 4 9s, so they got 36, and they were like, ooh, we're the top of the leaderboard. Now, here's the thing. They've been like that before. And I'm just saying, they got knocked off the top of the leaderboard. Because we'll skip down a little bit to Danny and Amy. Danny, John, Jules. And Amy. No, not them. Yes, Danny, John, Jules, and Amy. They did a jive to Flip, Flop, and Fly by Ellis Hall, and they were so on top of it that Darcy Bustle gave them a 10, so that gave them 37. So now they are at the top of the leaderboard. Now, you know, Ashley is, it's got to be frustrating for Ashley, because she's always this close to getting the top of the leaderboard, but not since like the beginning of the show has she gotten it. So I'm a petty bitch, and I'm really enjoying it. So you can just call me Petty Wop. Okay, then there was Sean and Katya, and they were in the dance-off against, who were they in the dance-off against? Oh yeah, Vic and Graziano, who went home. So now they did a quick step to Lightning Bolt by Jake Bugg, and, excuse me, I feel like it should have been them. Like, it should have been them. I'm seriously surprised that Sean has found. And honestly, here's the thing. I feel like and I could be wrong, I'll be the first one to admit when I'm wrong. I feel like because Shirley Ballas kind of ripped on him for his hair and it was pointed out how hypocritical that was, I felt like she's kind of being extra nice to him, kind of to make up for the fact that she was kind of a bitch on that first day. Not necessarily a bitch, but she just kind of, I think she kind of crossed the line a little bit. I mean, criticize the dance all you want, but I mean, his appearance is kind of, you know, so that's just what I feel. He was a little bit scored a little overly high, in my opinion. It's only my opinion. Copyright Tamara and Real Housewives of Orange County. Okay, so then there was Stacey and Kevin, and they did incredible with tequila. I thought they were so good. They did so good, so good. And then there was Joe and Diane, and they waltzed to the Rainbow Connection. Now, here's something else about this show. They're saying that there is a full-on romance between Joe and Diane. Is that true? I don't know. Because I know if it was America, it would be suspicious just because it's out there, right? But in England, their paparazzi are a little bit different than they are here in America, and they unearthed some shit. Like they unearthed this kiss between Sean and Katya. And you know what's interesting is that Katya's husband, Neil, is in the troupe, which is very interesting. So anyways, Joe and Diane are allegedly having this great romance. Whatever, power to them if it is true, whatever, I care less, as long as it doesn't affect their dancing. And his dancing was okay. Like, I definitely think his following will see him through. I think he'll get to the final. I don't necessarily think he'll win, but he will definitely get to the final because his followers, his followers are rabid. Like, they really are. Like, it's a little scary. Like, it's a strictly British thing because I guarantee you most of the American, I don't know anyone that's ever talked about him. I've never heard of him before this show. So, apparently he's a big influencer in England, I guess, on YouTube, but I've never heard of him. So, he's got his vlog, which is called Thatcher Joe, because he's a roof thatcher. Okay. Then there was Vic and Graziano. They did a cha-cha-cha. And what was unfortunate about Vic was that she, her legs, she's got very long legs, which is actually, normally that's wonderful. Like, that's great. Because she's got a tall partner. She can really rock it out, But she's always had her legs bent. And the cha-cha-cha is all about those straight legs. And so it was really kind of like, oh, girl, and they let her go. Oh, no. Oh, no. There we go. Okay, so then there was Kate and Aliash, and they did a Viennese waltz to Finally Mine by Juliette Roberts. And what's interesting is that they did fine. They did okay. I'm glad that Kate is still in the competition. She's actually a good dancer. And then after that, there was Danny and Amy. They did a jive to Flip Flop Fly, which I already talked about. And then after them was Faye and Giovanni. My girl Faye. I love my girl Faye from Steps. Again, huge band for 20 years, right? She's doing Strictly Come Dancing, which is kind of like, if she were to do Strictly or do Dancing with the Stars in America, it would make kind of sense because she's not that popular here in the United States. In fact, she's probably not popular at all. In fact, she was here in Vegas. She was actually here in Las Vegas with Lisa Scott Lee. Her and her husband, Mick, were here with Lisa Scott Lee and her husband, Johnny. And they were at the Aria. They were staying at the Aria. And what's funny is that my friend Stephanie, shout out to my friend Stephanie, she showed me this picture that they took from their hotel room. And I was like, oh, they're at Aria. She's like, how do you know what hotel they're at? I'm like, bitch, I know that view. I know that view. I know they're at the Aria. And you're like, wow, okay. And sure enough, they were at the Aria. And I was like, thank you. I know my Las Vegas views. Thank you very much. Okay. They did a foxtrot to Just the Way You Are from Bruno Mars. Again, it was good. They got a 33. but it wasn't her best. I'm torn for her best. I'm torn between the quick step where she was Sandy and Giovanni was Danny. That was great. But you know what? They did a waltz. No, they did a Viennese waltz before that to It's a Man's World. That was really good too. That was really good. Like those two dances were incredible. So I don't know. And then there was Charles and Karen. Now remember how I said everyone hates Karen for some reason? You know, I still have what this is what I found fascinating. Charles and Karen did a street routine, which is, I guess it's supposed to be hip hop. And it was To Get Up Off of That Thing by James Brown. And they got 36. And Kevin Clifton, her ex-husband, was so excited he ran and gave her a big hug. So it's nice to see that they at least still get along. That's great. So maybe that'll actually quell some of the people that hate her so much. I don't understand why people hate her that much, but I mean, yeah. Yeah. So anyways, they did really good. So yeah, we'll see how it goes next week. They've got the musical guest is going to be Rita Ora. I'm very excited about that. I don't necessarily know that I'm going to do a show next week just because I'm going to be in Florida. So, and I'm on vacation. Like I'm not even working in Florida. I am strictly on vacation. So I might just take a break from the YouTube show just for 1 week and then I'll come back and I'll discuss what I've missed thus far. So anyways, thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate it. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Angel Benton. You can watch my Sudsy recap show where I haven't done one of those in a while. I need to do one more of those. It's been a while. Where I talk about the various shows. But the strong focus is on daytime television. And then, yeah, thank you so much for logging on today. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace out, my live friends. Wubba, wubba, wubba.